weekend. And so to Euro 96, and let's start with action from Italy against Estonia, played on Saturday, and Italy in their familiar blue shirts and white shorts looking to get a victory as they take on two of their opponents in Group 4 in a matter of days. Well, they had the best of the early opportunities, and Zola winning his 11th cap, grabbing his second goal for Italy bang on half-time. They had to wait until the 45th minute before Martin Poon, the Estonia goalkeeper, was beaten. Italy fielding a number of new caps, and amongst them Angelo Peruzzi in goal. But Demetrio Albertini made victory almost assured for Italy after 58 minutes with a fine drive, his first goal for his country. After 65 minutes, Zola got his second on the night, his third goal to complete the Italians' domination over an Estonia side who've now played for and lost for in Group 4. And those in Palermo were delighted. But Estonia did have their moment of glory when Martin Reims' free kick deceived the wall and Angelo Peruzzi, as Estonia got a consolation with 18 minutes to play. But after great work from Lombardo, who was the last man to score on his debut for Italy 5 years ago, he left that honour to Fabrizio Ravanelli, becoming the 6th player in Italian history to score on his debut with 8 minutes left and complete the first leg of what the Italians hope will be a Euro 96 qualifying double here over Estonia. The Maksimir Stadium in Zagreb, the venue for Croatia against Ukraine. And here Croatia showed why they are realistic challengers for a place in the finals when opening the scoring after 13 minutes. Certainly they are the dark horses, and along with Italy, strong favourites now to qualify from Group 4. In fact, Croatia are already possibly making their plans for the qualification, and it promises to be some match against Italy. Well, Croatia had no problem in making it too. The man who's being sought after by so many clubs around Europe, Davor Suker, almost inevitably getting the goal. Sukor's been in great form in this year's championship in the qualifying. That was his 5th goal in the qualifying matches so far. Well, into the second half, and after 70 minutes, a brilliant piece of skill from Brozzecki, and really there was no doubting the penalty that he smashed home. 20 minutes to go then, and there was still time for the Ukraine side to concede one more goal, and Davor Suker doesn't miss opportunities like that. Goal number 6 in the Euro 96 so far, along with Patalainen of Finland. 6 each so far. Well, there's the Group 4 standings. Croatia played for one.
The 1996 European Championship qualifiers.
A highly expectant crowd in the Ramat Gan Stadium in Israel. A new feeling of buoyancy about Israeli football as a team that was considered a little bit of a joke in the qualifying section for the World Cup and had some very bad performances, rather naive performances, I think, more accurately to be described, have suddenly strung good results together. And there they are, sitting very handsomely at the top of the section. And 30-year-old goalkeeper who's had experience of British football, having played for Glasgow Rangers, of course. And when he's not playing football, he's a male model and a very highly paid newspaper columnist. There's the French team. The referee from Scotland, Jim McCluskey, started refereeing back in 1980. He's been on the FIFA list since 1987. A very experienced referee, a very cool customer who stands absolutely no nonsense. And as we're about to start this game, the French players well remember that night of infamy, they might call it, in French sporting history, the 13th of October 1993, when France, leading Israel in the Parc des Princes by 2-1, was stunned in the last 10 minutes of the game and beaten by 3-2. Perhaps the worst result in French footballing history. Certainly the Israeli players remember it. They wanted to swap shirts with the Frenchmen, who were very reluctant to do so. Only one player did it, and that was Eric Cantona, giving his jersey to Ronan Haradze, and it's done him very well because Haradze, as I said, number 10, is the top scorer. The pitch in immaculate condition. Ball taken there by Alan Hazard, who at one stage was the top transfer man for Israel. While the French, of course, play very exciting football when they get going. Alain Roche put that through and touched away from Roland Pedros. The French fighting very hard for this. Nicolas Wiedek. Oh, that's a very good start by Wiedek. And the three known players playing together here, Patrice Loco, Nicolas Wiedek and Ronald Pedros, have scored no fewer than 53 goals before them in club football this season. They are an explosive, dynamic trio, but can they find the right kind of touch for this type of quality of football? There's a beautiful ball right inside there to Berkowitz. Well, Berkowitz ought to have done better than that. The Maccabi Haifa player, much sought after in Europe. And I think there's a bit of a tug of war going on between Feyenoord and Anderlecht for his services. That was a beautiful ball put through by Tal Banner. I would imagine that maybe another 15 minutes into this game, with the blood coursing through his veins a little more, he might have put that away. A chance that came too early for them. Ooh, flicked on. Well, time after time, you get Laurent Blanc coming forward whenever he can. And he was a man who scored a couple of goals the last time that France played in the Ramat Gan Stadium. He did rather better last time with his head. Bonnie Ginsberg not doing that very well. Very courageous goalkeeper. Some might almost say rather reckless goalkeeper at times. Well, they're putting balls right through the middle in a very aggressive style, and out comes Bernard Lamar. Little 1-on-1 here. I thought there might have been a bit of a pull by Wiedek. As I said, all the French press talking about the fact that Ginola is on the bench. A very brave decision by the French coach, Aimé Jacquet. On the far side, you'll find that Ronnie Rosenthal will accompany Berkowitz, the Maccabi Haifa player, in trying to get these long balls that are being put through the center of that French defense. That's Loco getting his first real touch to his clubmate Pedros, headed away by Glam. Coming from the back, and Gloma. Watch the big fullback coming up. And too many players in there. Corner kick, though. I was mentioning the fact Angloma does a lot of attacking, and of course you see that in Serie A, where he plays for Torino. And back goes Pedros, scorer of 8 goals this season in French club football. Now you watch Blanc this time hovered on the edge of the penalty area, came in a little bit too late, but the corner kick far too near Bonnie Ginsberg in goal. Very anxious night for the French. They've already played 3 no-scoring draws in this section. Loco, that's a very good ball. Wiedek. And you could see the excellent understanding between these players from Nantes. There it is again. And every time that either Pedros or Loco goes wide, you'll see Wiedek going right into the box very quickly. Here it is again. Watch a little touch forward here by Wiedek. Well, that's a good piece of goalkeeping. Le Guen, what a masterly game Le Guen played at the center of the Paris Saint-Germain defense against Barcelona. Eric D'Amico. Well, Wadek, not offside. Well, that is rather surprising. He looked offside to me. And just lying outside him was Patrice Loco. Well, the French media have been giving the coach and the French players stick for rather negative performances so far in this qualifying group. They're desperately anxious for a win tonight. Just a bit too long. Wadek putting it in very neatly. Loco was coming up inside him. And I think you're seeing yourself the evidence of a vastly improved Israeli side. They certainly could play good one-touch football, very good looking going forward, easy on the ball, but they were very naive in defence. And far too often in the World Cup qualifying games, which they played, of course, in Europe, they were caught badly exposed as they pushed forward. That's Wadek, and I think a suggestion that there might have been a handling there by the captain, Klinger. Difficult to adjudicate in that. In comes Paul Le Guen. Nicely laid back there. The shot by Corentin Martin, the Auxerre player, a man who's likened very much. Well, Jim McCluskey won't be liked for that. And after that very exhilarating start, the Israeli team beginning to get the feel of this game. Still under pressure, though, as Wadek tried to lay it back. While Desailly powering his way forward. And I must say, this Israeli defense has improved out of what he saved. Lama. He's not had all that much to do in this game, but Alan Haratzi, the man who played with great distinction for Israel in the Olympics, testing Lama to the full. Well, I think the French must be annoyed at the chances they've had in this game. We're getting into stoppage time in the first half. Haven't put it away. That's a brilliant move. Flicked away across there by Martin. And I think the presence of Wadek rather put him off. Too many players going into the box. Another break, and they've really been playing a kind of system allowing Rosenthal and Berkovic with Harassi just behind them to make these quick breaks. Well, when you get Rosenthal coming from the outside and Berkovic going right through the middle, the two defenders there, Roche and Blanc, really caught out. Very good balls being pushed forward by this man, Tal Banner. In defense by Israel, Shlomo Schaaf should take great credit for the way he's forged a much more determined Israeli side. They look much more stable in defense to start off with. They've been put under intense pressure by a French team, which is led, as I said, by Wadek, Pedros and Loco, who've scored 53 goals between them in club football. But there is a body of opinion in France who say they might be good in the French First Division, but at this level it's a different matter. And of course, that's a classical case of players who do very well at club level and cannot make the transition. Well, the evidence of the first 45 minutes seems to substantiate that. They've had great possession, outstanding performances by Le Guen and Desailly, mopping up everything in midfield. Martin probing them from just behind these three front players, but again, not really testing Ginsberg. He's had two good saves, but the ball, I would have thought, on balance, should have been put beyond him. Like that, that's a shot again by Martin. And somehow or other, they've only really been slapping at this defense. No real penetration. Shot by Le Guen. Well, he does that very well. Not only have I seen him scoring goals from way out like that, but he bends them to great effect, just too near the goalkeeper that time. This is Revivo. Well, a loud roar from the crowd there, but I think it was always going past the left-hand post. Bernard Lama, 31 years of age and playing 17 times for France, wasn't going to let that go without being a chaperone. Martin, very good ball again at Pedros. Well, time after time, they've taken this Israeli defence apart, and somehow that final shot has eluded them. I actually think we're seeing a French team, look at the way it's lofted over by Patrice Loco. Now, Loco has scored, as I said, 19 goals in French football, and we've seen it week after week, snapping up chances like that. And I just get the feeling that we're watching a very nervous French side. And that's affecting them in the Israeli penalty area more than anything else. Away by Ginsberg. Now, Ronnie Rosenthal loves to burst forward like this. Just taking his eye off it though, Le Guen, masterful in midfield again. Oh, I think the French are looking a little bit frustrated now. This is Revivo again. Very good-looking player. Described to me by an Israeli friend as very much an aggressive offensive midfielder. Lama. And screaming at his defense. Now, for the first time in a game, Arazzi opening out. Very excitable crowd in the Ramat Gan Stadium. Just every now and again, feeling of apprehension as a player like Desailly breaks forward, put in there by Pedros. I think the very fact that Patrice Loco came in at the same time might have put Desailly off. Well, I wonder if they're beginning to celebrate, feeling that even a draw, no scoring draw, is an infinitely better result for Israel than it is for France. Remember, if it ends like this, it'll be the fourth one. Well, Laurent Blanc epitomizing the frustration of a team which has been so superior in midfield, and all their efforts coming to naught just about there. Well, they would do worse than to push Laurent Blanc forward now. The Saint-Etienne player scored 8 goals this season, even though Saint-Etienne are having a very lean time of it and haven't won a game away from home, but their captain is always capable from a set position of getting up well in the air. There's Shlomo Schaaf, taken a lot of players who are totally unknown in European football and welded them together expertly. Billing for a free kick. Mr. McCluskey says no. Yorkev, the substitute, on for Martin. Almost into stoppage time now. If they could score a goal now, they would be through in Lama. Perfectly fair challenge. And the goalkeeper did extremely well, because there might have been the possibility of hesitation between Blanc and Lama, but the goalkeeper decided it was his ball. In by Zohar, Lama. And oh, how this crowd are desperate for this winner. I think very notably the credit goes to the Israeli defense mostly. They have had occasional bursts forward like this, and that's what I said was a good decision by the goalkeeper, just to scythe in there after the ball taking everything with him. I think he was fairly safe. He would get a refereeing decision for him. And there goes the final whistle. Something, I have to say, of a disaster for the French. Well, one win and now 4 draws from their 5 matches. That doesn't seem like the form to take them to the finals in England. They still have a chance. Arithmetically, they're still in it, as I'm sure the coach, Emi Jackie, there will be telling the press in just a few minutes in the...
Bucharest, the venue then for Romania against Poland. The key players for Romania from Seville on loan, Ilie Dumitrescu, number 8, and from Spain, number 9, Florin Radicioiu, who's playing for Espanyol. Georgia Hagi from Barcelona, number 10, such an influential player for Romania, who of course were one of the surprise teams of last year's World Cup. Here's the Polish side. For them, the key player up front will be Juskowiak, number 9. His goals have been a vital contribution to Poland recently, and the Poles themselves will thank him for their winner against Azerbaijan. So this group began with Israel beating Poland by 2-1. Poland currently in 4th place with 4 points. Romania top of the table. And we pick up the action with Romania in their yellow strip, attacking the goal away to our right. Away by Kozecki. Such an important match this for both sides. Of course, there have been few goals around in this group. And Dumitrescu, and that's a fine save from Vancic, who came out and spread himself. Back again there by Dan Petrescu. And Piotr Novak was in again, but here was the opportunity, and Vancic spread himself to deny Romania. Played in again by Beledecci. This is Radicioiu, and he's so quick, and he's been so incisive as well. Had a fine World Cup, of course. Now an opportunity, but it goes a-begging, and it was Marius Lakatush who offside, and no. Well, the referee waved play on, and Petrescu, it would have counted, and he was onside. Great chance that. Well, the Poles break away, and out goes Stelea. The ball's still in play, and Kozecki had a good chance there, and in the end it was Montagno who came across. What an opportunity here for Kozecki. When the ball was played through to him, it was one-on-one, him against Stelea. You've got to give credit to Stelea here. It was a brave challenge, and an important one as well. Well, there's plenty of atmosphere on the terraces. This match only just past fit to play. There were some 200 out on the pitch. Army workers clearing it from the snow that they've had in Eastern Europe that threatened not just this game, but the game in Sofia between Bulgaria and Wales. No goals so far. Petrescu, a little bit short there. Now, here come the Poles again. Nowak and Juskowiak. Now, was he brought down? Penalty! Well, Stelea looked bemused 3 minutes before the break. And Juskowiak, well, he made the most of it. But it'll be the player brought down who will have the opportunity from the penalty spot. Already scored once in the championship so far in the 1-0 win against Azerbaijan. That was just before half-time as well, if I remember. Here's Juskowiak. 1-0 to Poland, and a big shock in Bucharest. The Poles in front against the run of play. And a fascinating Group 1 has another twist to the tale. Well, France have been unable to score goals, and that could cost them a place, but Romania now will have to chase the game. And play on, says the referee. Little touch, and it was a nice one as well from Montagneau. Here's Radichoyu. Oh, that's a brilliant finish. It's 1-1. So short, Radichoyu. And Romania strike back. Well, Radichoyu timed his run perfectly and finished so decisively and subtly. Petrescu. And still Petrescu. And there's no doubt which side's finishing the stronger as we move into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Czerzeski there putting it behind for a corner to Romania. A pulsating climax to this first half that started slowly. Well, all sorts of opportunities now. And the drive from outside hits the crossbar. Well, that was Benedetti who struck it really well. And no wonder the atmosphere's all changed. Benedetti here from fully 25 yards. And it was curving away with Vadsik looking on. So at half-time it was 1-1. We rejoined the play at the start of the second half. Well, Romania have certainly started far brighter. And Radichoyu has had the first opportunity in the second half. Again, the Romanians are winning so much of the possession first time, and Benedetti, who hit the crossbar with a great effort just before the break. And Poland, who took the lead against the run of play, now under a lot of pressure. Here's Radichoyu, he's missed out, and Dumitrescu tumbling over. Poland come on the counter, and we've not seen too much of Palosowski. Now a shot, and Stelea had to be at his best there. Acknowledges that perhaps the defence had given him a little bit too much time, and certainly that was a fair effort from outside the penalty area. Stelea down, still 1-1, 54 minutes play. And again, the Romanians carving out the best of the opportunities. Balunovski, little floated through ball, now making a great run here is Kozecki, and he's onside, he tries one! That is a fine effort from Kozecki, and Stelea had to be at his best there. The game's really opened up in the second half. Montagneau on the break as well, but this was Kozecki. The idea was right in it first time, and it certainly nearly caught out Stelea. Well, from one end to the other. 10 minutes gone in the second half then, and it's still evenly balanced at 1-1. Romania will wonder quite how they're not in front. Headed away by Benedetti. They have started by far the stronger, but the Poles are always dangerous. Radichoyu making a run. Here he is with the header. That was a fine, fair effort on the first from the defender. Sarviski. That was a late challenge. Free kick. Well, from these set-piece situations, they'll obviously try and bring in Radichoyo. I would imagine Hadji would be the instigator. And there he is, Hadji again. So quiet in the match so far, but so influential. Here's Radichoyo. And little floated ball in, and the shot takes a deflection. Well, Lupescu. Lupu is the substitute. He's come on for Lakatouche. There's Radichoyo who goes to the near post. Hadji and Dumitrescu combine. Oh, that was beautifully done from Hadji. Radichoyo with the header. Oh my goodness! It's got to be going down as an own goal, I think. Van Dijk will certainly be responsible. Now take it how you may. Was it Radichoyo's goal, or was it an own goal from the keeper? He felt there was pushing. Well, let's have a look and see if we can spot it on the replay. It was a looping header. Up went Radichoyo. He certainly didn't touch it. Well, you could either give it a Prodan or an own goal, and I think Josef Van Dijk will be the culprit there. 2-1 Romania anyway. Here's Kozaki. It's certainly been a match that's exploded since the opening goal 3 minutes before the break. And one that's now provided excellent entertainment. Away goes Montagno. And again the challenge, Selmes. Great opportunity here, Dumitrescu goes in. Fine save this time from Van Dijk. He saves the day this time. Well, this looked a real gilt-edged opportunity. Hadji went in, and then Dumitrescu went in. And finally, Van Dijk was the man. Well, this looks like Wyszynski, or maybe Sokolowski. Yeah, Sokolowski's come on for Czerwiecki with 15 minutes to go. And it's a late challenge. Now, that's going to be a red card. He's already had one. It was a dangerous thing to do from Vladimir Jaskuliski. He's already been booked, so it looks like an early bath. 13 minutes left. Jaskulski sees red for the challenge on Montagno. Well, let's see it again. Well, you couldn't on that, but they're down to 10 men. And could that be the end of the Polish challenge? Oh, and a mistake there nearly let in Wyszynski. Oh, all credit to Poland for still battling on when most teams would have fallen by the wayside, have been gone 2-1 down and continued a man advantage. Well, that was an important challenge. And just over. And once again, Solkowski, since he's been on. Well, it's a corner given. I'm not sure that Stelaire did get a hand to that. Maybe from this angle we can see, well, it looks over. But a corner's been given, and it's quickly taken. Poland looking to try and snatch a point here. What a valuable point it would be in Group 1 if they could somehow manage it. Dumitrescu, he's been involved as well. Now Radichoyo, it's a straight race. Radichoyo still going. Oh, well, no penalty. And Czerwiecki must have been very nervous there. Juskowiak makes the run. Oh, and that was equally important. Well, let's have a look at it again now. Radichoyu appeared to have the legs, and there was at least a tug. Maybe in the end the referee did make the right decision, but oh, it was close. Romania 2-1 in front then. Still just a little bit of time for Poland to see if they can snatch something here. To be quite honest, Romania good value for the lead. And it's been a fine second half, this one. Jaskowia, he's the real danger man, plays it across. Nobody in the centre, that's where they were a man light. But Poland are suddenly producing a performance here at the end that could give them something. Well done, easily taken by Stelea. Not long left now. And Romania still in front by the 2 goals. Radichoyu the first, and the second, well, they'll be talking about it for a long time here, but it has to really go down as an own goal by the goalkeeper, Van Zik. Referee having a look with the 2 linesmen now as we move into stoppage time at the end of what's been a really fine match. Oh, Jaskowia again! Keep him out of the action at your peril. And certainly there, Prodan came in. Radichoyu. And away come the Romanians again. Vladiu. And he only came on in the 87th minute for Hadji. And his influence not been apparent as much tonight, Hadji, as in other games. Well, goal kick given, and there is the fresh face, Vladio. Well, the home supporters whistling for the final whistle. And that shows that Poland really have made a spirited comeback in these last few minutes. Deep into stoppage time now. And one last chance maybe for the Poles. Oh, Stelea not going to be beaten by that. Well, the referee having another look with the linesman. And the decision will surely be the final whistle. And there it is. He couldn't have allowed any more time, but Romania have beaten Poland here by 2-1, having come from a goal behind, rocked by the controversial penalty by Jaskowia, but a great equaliser from Radichoyu. Then the goalkeeping error that gifted Romania the points. But bear in mind the news coming through from Israel, it's 0-0 against France. This is a big night for Romania and a big win for them. They're looking good for qualifying for England next summer.
A vast and famous stadium whose meagre crowd tonight reflects the diminishing interest of football in a country aspiring to solve desperate social problems. This is the home of the famous Dynamo Kiev and, of course, of the Ukraine, one of the new footballing nations in the European Championships, recently thrashed 4-0 by Croatia, and including 6 Dynamo Kiev players tonight. They're the 3rd choice goalkeeper, Kapushkin. The players, of course, breaking to either end of this vast stadium. I would think only about 10,000 in the stadium. Italy have made 6 changes from the team which played Estonia. And that's rather surprising because they seem to have got right on the straight and narrow after some very shaky performances. But there we are, there's the team. No, of course, no Roberto Baggio. In his place, Zola. Gianfranco Zola, with that very brief spell in the World Cup, very tragically and mistakenly sent off. There he is, number 10. On a pitch which I think has taken a beating from the weather recently. They had heavy rains, then the frost came again, and so it might be a bit tricky, especially for the Italian players. And small crowd though it may be, they're giving great vocal backing to the Ukraine, who really need to win this game. If they can't beat the Italians at home, they can give up all hope, I think. As I said, Arrigo Sacchi made 6 changes from the team that beat Estonia. And very surprisingly, Del Piero, as that ball is put in by Zola, and Casaraghi almost getting the touch. As I said, Del Piero surprisingly left out. He played, in fact, in the under-21 game. No Baggio, no Vialli. That has caused a great deal of dispute and debate in Italy. And no Signori, who's unfit. Di Matteo from Lazio playing a kind of Dino Baggio role tonight. There is Zola. I look forward to watching him playing, a player of great subtlety and a wonderful finisher at times. Played there to Mezzin on the far side. And Lombardo, one of the stars of that famous Sampdoria victory over Porto. I always enjoy Lombardo playing, running with such enthusiasm up and down the right-hand side. Well, that's the Maldini, the captain, coming forward. The Ukraine have really had their ups and downs and haven't really got going at all. Beaten by Lithuania, 2-0, drew with Slovenia. And there, a little bit of hesitation between defender and goalkeeper. Might have seen that earlier shot there of Peruzzi. And that's in. It's gone in from Lombardo. And there's that very typical run, looking at the heavens and thanking somebody up there. Well, I don't think he needs all that much help. It wasn't divine inspiration that gave him this goal. It was a little bit of cunning and coolness. Although I think the goalkeeper, as I said, his third choice goalkeeper, Kias Pushin, might just have stopped that on reflection when you see that slow motion replay again. Nevertheless, a very vital goal there by Lombardo. Here we have Khaled Vensov, Artushvenko. And they made no impression on a very tidy Italian defence. And I think what has been the most noticeable feature of Italy's play in this first half is the invention of Zola, the good running of Berti, well backed up by Di Matteo. Going down there, Konovalov. Referee allowing play to go. Referee is Sandor Pool. And I would have thought that goal by Lombardo would have discharged a lot of the anxiety and tension that may have existed in this Italian team. They are, as you probably know, the most criticised side, and now that's put down there. Nicola Berti didn't get hold of it properly. Disappointing finish. As I said, they are probably the most criticised national side in world football. The Italian press being very sensitive to the nuances of team selection, especially of Arrigo Sacchi. So, time after time, they're putting him on trial. Well, his judgment has paid off so far, that goal by Lombardo. Push forward there by Albertini. Little follow-up. Good clearance there by Oleg Luzhny. Arrigo Sacchi has made no fewer than 73 different selections, 73 players he's used in 4 years. There's Zola again, and that's Lombardo. Well, he did very well to creep in behind the player, just sneaking in almost on the blind side. And that's what any fullback has got to worry about. Lombardo's runs forward like that. Touched away by Orbu, the little bit unsettled at the back. But Zola's touches have been absolutely immaculate. Linking up well with Berti, of course. There they go again. Neat little touch inside, and Casaraghi. Good combination by the Italians going forward. Notice how they were very clustered. It was very close into passing. And I doubt very much if the Ukraine defense knew exactly where they were going to try and pierce them. You can see the cluster of players together here. Berti, Casaraghi, Zola. And a little flick forward. You see he couldn't get any leverage there. Little bit of hesitation, but I must say the three Parma defenders, Benarivo, Apolloni and Menotti, have been very steady. Costa Curta not favoured at the moment. Albertini, who scored his first goal for his country, playing against Estonia that last game. Now the run by Konovalov. Oh, he lacks support, though. There's a run inside now by Shevchenko, and comes to nothing. Well, they had so many players lying deep that only Shevchenko came up in support. That very first shot we saw of goalkeepers, by the way, they went to the wrong goalkeeper. It was Peruzzi we saw, and there he is again, looking down at this. Nice little turning there by Konovalov. And Peruzzi had chosen the right angle. There's Lombardo back defending. Just beyond Berti. Maldini. On to Mazzini. Ooh, that was just behind Shevchenko again. And nobody coming forward for Ukraine. Well, the Juventus goalkeeper is obviously on the crest at the moment, given the performances of Juve both in Serie A and European football. And I suppose it's always a wise move for a manager to pick a player on form for his club if his club is at the peak, which is what Juventus is at the moment. And I think that confidence is sweeping through the Italian ranks tonight. Certainly are using the ball very inventively in midfield on not too smooth a pitch. Apolloni comes away. Berti goes wide. Benarivo arriving. Lombardo just a little bit obvious. The build-up a little too slow, and giving the Ukraine defenders the opportunity to read that. I think I've favoured Ukraine's play on the left-hand side more, where we've had not only Berti and Zola going up there, but they've been joined by Maldini a great deal. Plenty of time. There's no challenge. They're not closing down the Italian defenders at all. And that will do them no good whatsoever. The Italians are building up from here. Berti tackled again. Get more and more of the ball. Zola going in on this. Can he finish? Yes. The second. Well, well, well. The ball put right through the middle. Nice little touch on. Just watch this again. Just bringing that under control, sweeping it away. And a very rueful coach there, Anatoly Konkov. Face of Casaraghi there, got that ball through from Zola. Out wide. Casaraghi, by the way, can't get his place in the Lazio side. There's Lombardo again, just touched away by Mazzini. Well, he has caused them problems tonight with that running of his. Now Zola. I think we'll get Albertini up here. Tries a short one, Benarivo. And oh, that just passed. Chiapushin almost deceived by that. A lot of players in front of him there, as Menotti let fly. Well, they've done hardly anything of any note in the Italian half. Falls there to Telesenko. Quickly taken away by Berti, working hard in defense as well. There's the ball forward by Albertini as the halftime whistle goes, and the Italians go off with a comforting thought that they're 2 goals up. But not only that, they're playing against an opposition that simply does not know how to cross. Start of the second half, and Italy simply looking comfortable. And I'm quite sure Zola is feeling very contented with himself tonight, the way he's been able to spray productive passes around, get into the goals himself, linking very well, giving a lot of ammunition to Casaraghi and Nicola Berti going forward. And of Ukraine, hardly anything up front. Indeed, a very dispirited looking side. Touched inside, as I'm quite sure that Casaraghi himself wants to impress, coming from the bench as he does so often in Italian league football. Menotti tries to play that way wide as Benarivo came forward. Picked up by Kalavintsov. No penetration, no guile, and Italy, if they really want to be positive about it, really ought to be going for goals. Goals may ultimately count, of course. Lombardo fouling Orbu. Well, the Italians, I think, were getting very nervous about their situation in the group. Certainly second to Croatia, who are going very strongly, and who, of course, beat Italy in Italy by 2-1. A team that scored 10 goals and only conceded 1, the Croatians. Italy slipping up there and not performing well in Slovenia. So they really did have on their minds a victory, nothing other than that tonight. Zola again, that little touch forward. And what a marvelous treasure box the Italians have when they can afford to leave out the likes of Roberto Baggio, who's recovering, of course, from injury. and considers himself not fully match fit for this kind of football when they can leave out him, and Zola gets his opportunity to come in, and he's starring. The tragedy is that Del Piero would be the same kind of player as well. Roberto Baggio, Del Piero and Zola all in the same team. It's just a little bit too much. Peruzzi probably giving him a little exercise. Must be getting rather stiff and cold out there. Lombardo. That looked like a deliberate handling. Referee ignores it. Touched to the side by Orbu. Useful player on the left-hand side here. He has a little space for the first time in the game, and I think that neatly summarizes their lack of ability going forward. Orbu simply running out not only of ideas, but of players coming upside him. No use making a break like that, and there's nobody threatening going through the middle. Oh, I just get the impression that this may be typically Italian. They're 2 goals in front, and they're not now going to burst any blood vessels. They'll just sit and tempt the Ukrainians. Although, to be honest, they'll need some kind of temptation to get them to come forward in numbers. That's Minotti putting it to the side. Maldini wanted it back. Well, I think, there's the referee, Sander again. Yes, not a bad player, this one. Where's his support this time? Only 2 players in the box. And Arrigo Sacchi wearing that baseball hat of his, screaming instructions at the Italian defense. I think he would like a handsome score tonight. Good into play there. Swept forward again by Di Matteo. Easily enough at the back for Apolloni. Zola again trying to drag the defense way wide to open a space for Berti to run through. I think he was just going to touch it back to the Inter Milan player, who, by the way, is getting back onto form again. Arrigo Sacchi showing a great deal of loyalty in Berti, who I didn't think had an outstanding World Cup. But I think part of the revival of Inter's form in Serie A. So into the side he goes. Now Lombardo, little gift to him this time. Appeals for the penalty. And Sander Poole is at least 30 yards away from that in any case. Well, he took a very hard knock in the first half. He was off for about 5 minutes. He came back on again, and I think his right leg is beginning to stiffen up. I'm not quite sure of the exact locality of the injury, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if they replace him. Now could they pull back? The 2 goals down. Oh, it's a no. Oh. The kind of action there that just takes the words out of your mouth as Ilushuk came forward, and their best chance in the game. I must say, Peruzzi remained admirably cool there. Frankly, I think he was beaten to the world. And the play now just a trifle stodgy in midfield. Well, we haven't seen much of that skill. That was Leonenko. Crowd whistling. I think it's going to be a free kick, yes. Still 2-0 for Italy. Playing well within themselves. Looking comfortable. They don't want to make it a spectacular event in any as much of Zola in the second half. And when Maldini flows forward, looking always majestic and elegant. While Zola to have scored 3 games in a row, not a bad feat. Sander Poel pulling them back, as it were. At that pose, Kia Pushin, as I said, the third choice goalkeeper. And now he's directing the traffic. Lombardo's there. Just flips that down to Albertini. Maldini coming forward. Here's the chance. They can't get it there, and pushed forward by Konovalov. Out to Messine. Back to Comini. There's Ravanelli. Same sort of player, of course, as Lombardo, Ravanelli. Good, strong runner. Has had a marvellous couple of seasons. As we're getting Conti now. Whipped across there by coming back there in support, Shevchenko. Berti. Again, good running as Zola tried to go across. I think he lacked somebody coming on the other side with him. That was Albertini. Zola again. Normally he's very good at getting out of these tight spots, and he does it well again there. Berti. Maldini. Zola. I think he gets the corner kick. Above all else, Ravanelli. And a typical run. I did say that, you know, if they shaved Lombardo and given the same kind of pate as, or shaved Ravanelli there, gave him the same kind of pate as Lombardo, it would be very similar identities on the field. The good runs into the box, get behind defenders well. Now played to Messine. Shevchenko can't get the final shot in, and that's played too far for Leonenko. Better run forward by Benoribo. Nice little give back the way. And the Italians rather disappointed. I'd like to have seen more of Zola in the second half. That'll be picked up by Apolloni. Now Zola with a free kick. Looking goalwards as several players go in for this. He would have been expecting Ravanelli to be very close to that. Just too strong. The Italians totally in command of this game from the very outset. No problems for them, just a little flicker of resistance near the end by Ukraine.
Bulgaria against Wales then from Sofia. Here's the Bulgarian team. Now, these names not so unfamiliar as they were before last year's World Cup final. And their number 8, Hristo Stoichkov, one of the real stars, the current European Footballer of the Year, who is in big dispute at the moment with Barcelona, was suspended for a fortnight from allegations he made in the Bulgarian press. Here's the Welsh side up against them this afternoon. First cap for number 9, John Hartson, the 19-year-old from Arsenal. He's playing because Mark Hughes is suspended and Ian Rush is out injured. Mixture of youth and experience then in that Welsh side, who really have just pride to play for. The only real chance of getting back into this group is if they were to win here and other results go their way and pick up points on the way. But it's been such a turnaround, as Dimitar Penev, who was the unlikely man to lead Bulgaria into the semi-finals of the World Cup. And Neville Southall, 78 caps for Wales with the long clearance. And one gets the feeling this is going to be a very rough ride for the Welsh. The game only passed fit after 3 inspections this morning. There was a lot of snow on the field, and the general thought was that it was going to be postponed 24 hours, even 48 hours was being talked about this morning. Vinnie Jones loses out. This is Stoichkov, might try one. Well, he's so talented in that sort of area, and such a hero here in Sofia. Stoichkov, one of the true great European footballers, and certainly he was really looking forward to this match. And Vinnie Jones there on the edge of the penalty area, number 4, didn't go in with his hard customary challenge that perhaps many of the defenders in Britain have been used to. And amongst those on the bench for Bulgaria, Kyriakov, Sarakov and Yordanov. Bulgaria haven't really found their true rhythm yet. This is Kit Symons, centre-half, who plays in the Ensley League in England with Portsmouth. 15 caps for him so far. Stoichkov, Balakov. What a brilliant goal after 37 minutes. Well, that was straight out of the top drawer by Balakov. Sofia erupts. Bulgaria take the lead with a memorable goal from Balakov. No blame on Southall this time, just pure quality finishing. Stoichkov to Balakov, and it really was a great goal. Well, Bulgaria really now impressed, having gone into the leads. Kostadinov, this is Kremenelev. Oh, Southall was stretched there and had to make the save. Kremenelev. Well, eventually he got the chance. And that was a fine save by Southall. More changes at the start of the second half, but it's a mountain that Wales have got to climb, one feels, because Bulgaria have had most of the possession. We haven't really seen too much of Wales at all. And again, the defence has held up. They haven't crumbled like they did against Georgia in Tbilisi when they were completely overrun. 2 in the centre, Kostadinov making himself very busy. Penev also lurking. Here's Kostadinov. And Bulgaria in complete control, but still only a goal in front. Kremenelev. That's floated in. Vinnie Jones heads it away. This is Penev. And that's taken the deflection. And again, Stoichkov was demanding more. And anxious Welsh faces. Still Bulgaria then, leading thanks to Balakov's goal. 8 minutes before the break. Here's Kostadinov. That's a fine little flick, but it was to nobody in particular. In the end, easy for Southall. No, we haven't really seen anything of new cap John Hartson. Free kick to Bulgaria. Lechkov, and there's Vinnie Jones, and apologies accepted by the Welsh FA for an instance in which he bit the nose of a journalist in the bar in a hotel in Dublin after that England-Ireland encounter that never finished last month. And Penev looking for it in the centre. This is Kremenelev. Yordanov. That's Kostadinov. And Lechkov as well. The two of them went in there. And also the Valencia player as well. And certainly there's been plenty of action, and it really was a mixture of the two there. Here's Kremenelev. And Lechkov. Such an improved player. Handball against Vinnie Jones. Lechkov again. Bulgaria still leading by a goal to nil. Seems an age since Balakov got the goal. This is Lechkov. Penev. Kostadinov. He dragged it wide. Emil Kostadinov, the man whose late goal took them to the finals in Paris. Not really been quite in the best form so far this season, but it was Penev whose subtle ball was perfectly weighted, and Kostadinov from an acute angle dragged it wide. And Wales have only been seen in an isolated force up front. They really have missed Mark Husney and Rush tonight. Nothing against Dean Saunders and John Hartson. It's a new experience for Hartson, of course. Lechkov. Still, that's a fine run. Lechkov. It's still Lechkov. Penev with him. This is Penev at the penalty area. And the shot driven in there by Balakov. It's all Bulgaria. And I'm sure Dimitar Penev needs no reminding that they could do with a second goal here with 20 minutes to go. Lechkov. Plenty of options open. Ryan Giggs, who we haven't seen at all in the match. And away. And a chance here. And it's taken a deflection off Penev, I think. It's 2-0 anyway. And Penev gets the goal. And Wales now have a huge mountain to climb. They're 2 down. And again, it was fast, it was furious. And when the ball came in, I'm sure it took a deflection. There's Kostadinov, there's Penev. And there's the ball, 2-0. Well, it was great work from... came off Penev's chest from Kostadinov's strike. Here's Lechkov. We've got under 10 minutes now, and Bulgaria can afford to cruise home. John Cornforth's come on for Wales. Really, we haven't seen too much of them so far. And the lone chase from Hartson. What a transformation in his career since he's joined Arsenal from Luton Town. A big prospect, according to his manager of the time at Luton, David Pleat. But now he's got a chance to play at centre stage in the big competitions. And Bulgaria now are able to relax, knowing that they've got the points. It really would take a extraordinary comeback by Wales, and it doesn't look like it at the moment. Bulgaria 2 in front, and Penev make that 3. He's not going to miss that sort of opportunity, and another Welsh collapse here. Well, an extraordinary turnaround of fortunes in Welsh football over the last 18 months, having been so close to qualifying for the finals. They're now, like their rugby team, really suffering. And there's Penev's header past Southwell, 3-0 Bulgaria, and we've 8 minutes to go. Here's Giggs trying a little magical run. We haven't seen really anything of him so far. It's a great run from Giggs. And Saunders, oh, that's a fine goal from Dean Saunders. What a shame. I think it's too little too late. But it was the first time that Ryan Giggs, who scored 3 times for Wales in this his 13th appearance, it was a great bit of play from Giggs. And Saunders from the edge of the penalty area. In fairness, he didn't really hit it that well. Speed. This is Giggs. This is better. Still Giggs. Great run. Oh, the keeper's lost it. And it just couldn't come back to Saunders. Well, that would have been something. Suddenly, Wales, when they were 3-0 down, have found a lifeline. Well, Ryan Giggs here, twice in the space of 2 or 3 minutes, has produced the form that, at his best, those who've seen him play for his club, Manchester United, will appreciate. As Dimitar Penev calling and baying for the final whistle. Final whistle goes. Another defeat for Wales away from home. A victory here for Bulgaria by 3-1. Balakov after 37 minutes, 2 for Penev.
Scotland in a chilly Moscow. The Scottish team going here very badly depleted, with Colin Calderwood and Darren Jackson making their debut on a hard surface, very flinty, and the Russians on the go right from the start. The ball played to Kiryakov, the very talented Karlsruhe player, and the first bit of action around Jim Leighton's goal. And I think the weather dominated in this game. A lot of neat touches, and the Russians finding it very difficult to get going, with Scotland playing very heavily in defence. And a great effort there, swept across there by Kanchelskis, using that enormous pace of his. And early on in the game, tremendous pressure on this goal. Jim Leighton, very experienced, 37 years of age, now playing for Hibernian in Edinburgh. And some of his goalkeeping feats have helped Hibernian reach the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. Lovely little back heeler there by McGinley. And Tom Boyd coming in, an attacking fullback at the best of times, but rarely seen going right through the middle like that. He's more an overlapping fullback. Bust forward there, Dobrovolsky trying to lay it back for a 1-2, not quite coming off. And again, in a very huge stadium, a minute crowd compared to what it used to be here. Colin Henry strongly in. Watch this tackle. That's determination. Seemed to go after the ball as Shalimov went down. Kiryakov going into the defensive wall. And the referee trying to create a little bit of calm. And watch them just trying to buzz very quickly there. In fact, they do, and Leighton seeing that coming. He is, and always has been, a splendidly reflexive goalkeeper. Perhaps he's always been a little weak in balls coming across his goal, but there's none better when it comes to protecting his goal like this. Looked like a foul on Darren Jackson. Darren Jackson, surprisingly brought into the Scottish side, which I said has been badly affected by injury. Now the play to the outside to John Collins, the Glasgow Celtic midfield player. And every now and again, Scotland on the break, this time prevented from making that cross by the Sparta Moscow player, Kalestov. In goal, of course, well known to British football, Dimitri Karan. There a glimpse of the Hibernian manager, Alex Miller, who has two players playing there. It's unusual to have two Hibernian players in a Scottish side. And you notice the flowing locks of a player who came up there who's notably very, very good in the air, Colin Henry. Well, the red-nosed figure there of Craig Brown, the Scottish manager. John McGinley, in his early 30s, another very much a journeyman in footballing terms, playing now for Bolton. There he is again, snapper of chances. And this, of course, has been a perennial problem for Scotland strikers. And whilst I'm sure everybody could have predicted a very defensive structure for the Scottish team tonight, nevertheless, they were always trying to nip away and get a goal in a game where the Russians had to push forward as much as they could, as often as they could. Now McGinley, a little bit surprised the ball came to him that way. In this group, of course, it is Greece who are setting the pace at the top of the section. Scotland coming in second place, followed by Finland and Russia, but anything could yet happen. Long way to go. Gary McAllister again, and that was almost in the head of Darren Jackson. Now this is where the Russians are very dangerous, got marvelous pace, but the final ball's letting them down all the time. And that was taken away by Paul McStay, the Celtic captain, onto the Leeds captain. And Darren Jackson going down very heavily, and that can't be too clever on a night like this. What a effective play in terms of keeping possession, but unable to make any great impression on the Scottish defence. Kiriakov. That's a free kick. That's another player I've long admired, Kiriakov. Played for the old Soviet Union and the CIS. Back they go into defence. Darren Jackson there with Paul McStay. And the both of them have worked very hard. Not a very good effort, and laid it again. Well, I did say that one of his great qualities is getting to a ball very quickly. I mean, his reactions are superb. And he so far has been the saviour of the Scottish side. John McGinley back defending. The pressure really on, a bit of confusion there. Everybody back for Scotland. And there's the hero. He's had his critics through the years. Stated in a Scottish paper recently, we never talked to Alec Ferguson again for some reason, who was one of his greatest, most loyal fans. Oh, that was play acting, as far as I could see, by Dobrovolsky, and Paul McStay is trying to indicate that to the referee. He didn't need to, the referee not being taken on by it. Dobrovolsky with a gesture of defiance and frustration. Good decision by the referee. Watch him throwing himself. There might have been the slightest touch by McStay. Nothing more than that. Long effort there by Nikiforov. Out to Karpin. Real Sociedad player. Captain Onopko right through. Scotland, everybody back behind the ball except McGinley. Shearer now on as a substitute. And a backs to the wall performance that might yet produce something valuable for Scotland. Little lofted header there by Kalestov. Tried to loop it up away from the goalkeeper. And the Scottish bench very agitated down there, realizing that although they were heavily criticized in the previous performances, a draw here in Moscow would be a very significant result. Stuart McKimmie just simply putting it away down the line, trying to find Shearer. Collins hooked away there by Shalimov. And the referee deciding another free kick. Onopko takes it. Klestov, and there goes the final whistle. You can hear the derisory whistles going round the stadium. A poor result for Russia, and Scotland a very valuable.
Turkey against Sweden, and a tremendous atmosphere for this one as the Swedes get us underway. Of course, how much will they miss Thomas Brolin? I know he's been badly missed by Palmer, but striking partner Darlene goes away immediately to try and hustle and bustle this Turkish defence. A very hostile atmosphere as always in Turkey, and it's one that I'm sure that the Swedes will try and overcome as quickly as they can. This is Darlene. Oh, that's a penalty for sure. Darlene chopped down, and after 21 minutes, no complaints, but it was an incredibly late tackle, and Bülent, who has, I thought, much more experience, just chopping down Darlene. And so Kenneth Anderson from the penalty spot with a chance to quieten down the crowd, who've been very noisy, very volatile. Sweden lead. Anderson's penalty after 21 minutes separates the sides. And that's just the sort of start that they'd have wanted. Only small contingent from Sweden. They've made a long trip, and midway through the first half they've got some reward. Well, the player in form in this Turkey team is number 10, Sergen. And a chance here, and it's driven wide by Metin. As I was saying, Sergen is scored 5. Comes in, and that's a fine save from Ravelli, who had to be very alert. Well, it was a good move this by Turkey, and Tolunay Sergen here with the opportunity And he has been in such good goal-scoring form. You'd have expected him to put that one away. Corner to Turkey. And this is August. Now two in the centre. Ravelli's lost it. Great chance here. And headed in by Emre. The Fenerbahce sweeper grabs an equaliser for Turkey after 64 minutes. Against the run of play, maybe. But now the stadium erupts with a crescendo of noise, fireworks, sparklers and bangers. And it all started when Tolonai put in the deep cross. There was real confusion there between Anderson and Ravelli. Well, Turkey now have suddenly got their wins up. This would be a fantastic result if they could go on and win the game, but they're still a long way from that. Now there's a chance. Salent, oh yes! And Sergen has made it count. With 15 minutes to go, they've turned it around. And unprecedented scenes here. Genuine elation on the terraces. And the Turkish supporters, who've so often been so enthusiastic and been let down on the big occasion, have now seen their side turn it around as Blomqvist is about to come on for Larsson. And the Besiktas striker is now the hero for Turkey. And can they hold on? Well, away goes Hakan. And surely Hakan. It's still Hakan. Now, no penalty. It's outside the box according to the referee, and what a controversial decision this is. Oh, he's right as well. It was a brave decision from the referee to make. Darlene making his protest. Oh, there's a red card, and it's Bjorklund. Well, it's all gone wrong in the last 2 minutes. Bjorklund off. It's probably for not going back 10 yards. I'm really not sure what else it could have been for, unless it was for the challenge that... But why didn't he make it earlier? You sent him off for the challenge. I thought it was strange you just pulling him out like that, but he did take his time. So Bjorklund goes for the challenge, and now a free kick and a chance for the Turks curled in. Well, there was handball there as well. And the flag went up for offside. Now that's surely a yellow card. Well, totally out of order, both players, particularly Metin. And he's very lucky to stay on, in fairness. Hakan got involved again. Now the flag went up for offside. That's not the issue here. But it's certainly developing into a fiery last few minutes. Well, you have to go back arguably to the great win against the Hungarian side with Puskás in 1956 for a result like this for Turkish football. They beat the Hungarians 3-1 39 years ago, and arguably this would be their best result since. And victories have been few and far between as Metin drives one in. It would also give them a realistic qualification chance, and that's something that hadn't really been considered by too many. There goes the final whistle. Turkey have done it. A real...
Going right through here, the Azerbaijan defence. The first goal by Dusan Titel in 33 minutes. And after 33 minutes, one might have worried about hypothermia. But their goalkeeper was worried about the deluge yet to come. And just before half-time, the ball slipped in there. The conditions appalling. And keeping his feet just to touch it past the goalkeeper, Timko, making it 2-0. Now this was the vital pass here, and the shivering spectators a little bit heated by that finish. It was all over just on the stroke of half-time. I think a more benevolent referee might have taken the weather into consideration, but he awarded a penalty there. And up came Peter Dubowski, 3-0. Into the second half now, one-way stage. And a neat header by Timko to score his second goal of the game. 5 minutes into the second half. And refraining from asking the kids to come on and play sledges with them, because I think that's the only creative thing left in the match. They decided to score another goal, but they waited until 10 minutes from the end to do so. And it came from the foot of Nusan Salimanov, except at the other end. This time the referee tried to make amends, balanced it out with a penalty award. Salimanov, a consolation goal, 4-1 the final score. And there is that group. Romania going very strongly indeed, and France in deep, deep trouble. They've now played 4 no-scoring draws. That is a terrible one. The next game against Israel at home is vital. That's it. France against Israel, I think, will be the key game in that, although Poland, as we've seen already tonight, could do some damage. But certainly Romania almost certain to book. Last November, Cyprus won their first ever European Championship game in 24 years when they beat Armenia 2-0. But that goal coming from Michael Schoenberg was a warning to them that life was not going to become any easier as a result of their historic win. Nevertheless, they fought back well against a Danish team whose form seems to be slipping. And Schmeichel coming out of goal there, caught very badly, and the ball goes into the back of the net. The scorer, Engomitis, Michael Schoenberg, having put the Danes in the lead in the first place. More to come, of course. A very nervy defense again. And that ball just sliding in. That time it counted. Marios Agathopoulos. And all the danger coming unexpectedly from the Cypriots. Typical run by Brian Laudrup, easing his way into the box. But the Cypriot defense held out. And as a ball played in again, delightful balls played in by Laudrup in this game. The Cypriot defense held out, 1-1 the final score. The Belgians go to Spain. No Schifo, no Albert, no Georges Grun. Badly handicapped. And with 24 minutes of the game gone, a beautiful move there as the Spaniards began to pile on the pressure. The ball hooked across goal, touched in there eventually by Guerrero. At the root of that move, Luis Enrique. The Belgian goalkeeper Gilbert Baudard did get his fingertips to it, but Guerrero in there for the kill. 2 minutes later, Mark de Gries catching a Spanish defense, trying to make him offside, rounding the Spanish goalkeeper. And there they were, getting a little bit of revenge for that 4-1 drubbing in the corresponding fixture in Brussels last December. And right at the end, free kick, brilliantly saved by Gilbert Baudard. And we're so used to seeing Michel Prudhomme in goal. They have unearthed another great goalkeeper. Shot after shot, raining in on him. The final score, 1-1. The final results in a very interesting section indeed. And Denmark and Belgium looking to the laurels at the moment. They must improve. Spain, Macedonia, a little bit of a surprise there. A lot of ones being played, and the Swiss very proudly top of their section. They beat Sweden by 4-2, Iceland by 1-0, and Turkey 2-1 away from home. There is the side there, and many of these names familiar, of course, because yet again they played with a fair amount of credit in the United States, particularly Alain Suter, who was in outstanding form, Sforza, Thomas Bickel, and the defense, of course, well organized by Roy Hodgson, the British coach, who, despite the criticism he received after returning back to Switzerland, has kept coolly and professionally at his job. Now here, a Hungarian nation hungering for the success they used to have in the 50s, the 60s with a great side. Sadly, and I say sadly because I think everybody was a lover of the genuine, beautiful way that the Hungarians played football. Sadly, their play has been in a steep decline. And every season, one hopes that they'll come back to the best in these famous cherry jerseys of these. Switzerland tried to play it coolly out of defense. I think that's going to be a free kick. Foul there, but seemed to be by Kovac. Well, ask any old-timers and they'll recite the names of the famous Hungarian teams. Hidekudi, Puskás, Bosic. They haven't been able to have stars like that emerge for a very long while. That's pushed forward by Kozma. Picked up there by Geiger. Roars of enthusiasm as that ball is beautifully put through there to Vinci. Well, he picked it up well. And they are making a little space for himself, although I have to say I'm rather surprised that Hodiger was caught out of position there. Seemed to be ball watching. Suter. Into Bickel. Well, Petri got well behind that. Another indication, though, that the Swiss are there, prepared like Sforza there, to shoot on sight. Bickel with the free kick. Well, that could be touched in. Oh. While I look at the Hungarian defenders there, beautifully curved free kick there. Sforza almost getting the touch. Just playing it well to Vinci. And screaming inside him there was Helmai. And the trouble with Vinci there is he doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. Simply did not know that the player had made a run on the left-hand side. Watch Vinci coming in there. Good, solid performance, though, by the Hungarians. I thought the Swiss had played in a rather lackluster way against the Turks and got away with it. Getting something like that just now from them. Taken out by Subiat. He should have done better than that. As I said, they played not all that distinctively in Turkey, but they got the win there in breakaways more than anything else. Might not be just so lucky tonight. Well, they dominated that first half, and I think the Swiss, having been very fortunate to play 45 minutes without conceding a goal, now growing in confidence. Although still a little bit lethargic like this. Players in the inside, there's Kieprich. No wonder he's celebrating. 5 minutes into the second half. A really glorious goal. Vinchke with it. Now that was a difficult header. Deciding to wrong foot the goalkeeper. He could have chosen just to place his head across the trajectory of the ball, but no, he decided on the angle. Try to fight back. Real test there for Petri. Shouting some instructions for his defenders to get back. Speaking to Emrasco there, the fullback. I notice the Swiss players offered him no challenge. Bikel. Down it goes, great save. Subiat again. Oh, there's nothing more difficult for a ball for a goalkeeper when a ball is headed down like that and goes back up again. There's a touch. Another hero is Petri. That was Oral getting in. And we've just seen the best sequence of the match for Switzerland. Really getting their act together for the first time in the game, in fact. Oh, it's a break again. Iles trying to go through. He's still there. Oh, he's done it. I simply do not know how he kept control. I wonder if he'll survive that scrummage across there. Watch this. He might have been just a little bit fortunate, but he did keep his eye on the ball. Didn't lose his sense of position. And Pascolo could do nothing about it. Well, top of the section, 2 goals behind Hungary, who've been struggling in second bottom place. And we could be in for one of the major upsets of the night. Referee conceding a little push there. That's a free kick. Now Sutter has to be watched very carefully here. Normally very good at floating these in. That's another excellent one. It's there by Subiat. At last he's got it. If only by the law of averages, because he's had so many opportunities in the game. And at last one came his way. 73 minutes, and it's back to 2-1. Well, I did tell you about this man flighting it in. Although having said that, bad marking. Swiss with their tails up again. Hottiger with it. Well, this goalkeeper is turning out to be a man who might catch the eye of some scouts in the West. His name Petri, by the way, but I don't know his telephone number. Out comes Pascolo. Oh, the Jolie. Rather flat looking Swiss defense, but Hottiger just got a foot to it. Forward there by Kohler. Sutter lying very deep. Very much a thinking player, Alan Sutter. Remember the exciting burst he had in that Silverdome Stadium in Detroit. That great game they had with Romania. Oh, that's neatly flighted. It's almost in, it's gone in. Oh. Well, it took what you might call the tourist route to go there, because again it looked as if it was coming to nothing and then took the detour. Subiat goes up, misses it first time, and then off the back of the foot. Well, you cannot fault this man for lack of trying. He might have given up for loss, but he kept hanging in there. 2-all, quite a remarkable game. Oh, they've got to watch this. The Swiss breaking in strength. Held there by Sforza. He should have laid it off. Just a trifle selfish. There we are. Mike Wurler pushed it to the far side. Orel coming up. I must say I feel sorry for the Hungarians. Badly needed a win tonight. They played some very good football. Turned out to have a great goalkeeper. And there goes the final whistle. You cannot take for granted this Swiss team. They looked well out of it. And Nestor Subiat, who'd had so many chances in the game, eventually claws them back to get a point out of this. Remember, of course, 3 points now in the championship, the European Championship. Good performance by Hungary, and for all my Hungarian friends go through in that section, all credit to Roy Hodgson. Turkey might be the surprise package.
Welcome back to the intimidating atmosphere inside the Feyenoord Stadium. Group 5 action next, and it's the Netherlands taking on the Minnows from Malta, the Maltese side, who go into battle for this one. They've only ever won 2 internationals in their history, those against Greece and Iceland. No one here expecting Holland to be their third scalp. This is a group which sees Norway, Holland and perhaps the Czech Republic as the 3 fancied sides, per many 2 from those 3. The Dutch make 2 changes from the side who thumped Luxembourg here 5-0 before Christmas. Arthur Newman is on the bench tonight, and Yuri Mulder makes way for Clarence Seedorf and Dennis Bergkamp. So as you see, that's a very strong Dutch 11 indeed for Guus Hiddink, now in charge after Dick Advocaat, and this his first match in charge that really matters after a couple of friendlies. So extended highlights coming up, a feast of goals as well, we can promise you. Wins so far home and away for the Dutch in Luxembourg, nothing less than they would have expected. 5-0 before Christmas as well on this very ground. But draws in Norway, and then at home to the Czech Republic, as we said, leaving this group still wide open between those 3 nations. Norway currently leading, and the Dutch, who played a game more than the Czechs, are in 2nd place. So Malta will come to fight with spirit, to defend, to preserve, they hope, some dignity, and perhaps not be on the end of a severe drubbing. +30,000 have packed the Feyenoord Stadium in Rotterdam. It's a cool, brisk evening, but the pitch is perfect, a little give in it, and the players will appreciate that. Building from the back with Danny Blint. Now beneath us, Stan Valks on the ball from Eindhoven. Will get it back again, the Dutch number 2. Plays it square. Blint in no hurry, forward looking for Bergkamp, lurking on the edge of the D. Down goes the Inter Milan man. May not be an Inter Milan player at the start of next season. In fact, almost certainly will be leaving Internazionale in 3 months' time. But it's the first real moment of danger for the Dutch. And Clouet, the Maltese keeper, asking his wall to get it right from the free kick, and they do their job. First chance of the evening is over the bar, and Clouet not tested from the right boot of Wim Jonk. Guus Hiddink now in charge. The people's favourite Johan Cruyff still keeping the bench warm down in the new camp. And Hiddink knows all about life in Spain, having previously coached Valencia. Brian Roy from Nottingham Forest on the far side, looking to get in behind the fullback, and does well. Roy with a cross that's cut out by the flying Clouet. I wonder if this is a night for the Floriana player to carve his name in footballing history. May not get too many chances in the big arena, but right now the spotlight falling on him and all these Maltese boys who have the chance, if not to cause an upset, then certainly to momentarily have their 50 moments of fame tonight at the Feyenoord Stadium. It's 0-0, still early stages in the first half. The Maltese, who've barely ventured out of their own half, in the white shirts, remember, and the red shorts, and they're playing from right to left in the first period, but they'll be defending for much of the game, I'm sure. And Dennis Bergkamp wins a race for the through ball with the keeper, but can't find the target, as the Maltese perhaps paying the penalty for having the temerity to come forward in any numbers for the first time. Unlucky to see Bergkamp's shot rolling just the wrong side of the post. The crowd have come for a goal feast. They've come to salute the new coach, Guus Hiddink. And Brian Roy is the man they've also come to cheer on, in the hope that he, Bergkamp and Zeedorf will be amongst the goals this evening. Roy flashing a left foot shot that's inches over the crossbar. As the trumpeter on the terraces, a fixture here at Feyenoord, calls the tune. And it's the Maltese who at the moment are very much being led the dance, as you'd expect, but no goals yet. And Winter in the number 6 jersey. All the Serie A men are here in force. Clarence Zeedorf, that exciting young talent at Ajax, getting his chance tonight. And it's Bergkamp with a lovely turn, not on the favoured foot, and just sliding away when the Dutchman had done all the hard work. Hasn't settled at Inter, and really has been an unhappy time for the Dutchman, but when he pulls on that orange jersey, as England know only too well to their cost, he is a man transformed. And there's a great eagerness and a great appetite tonight about the man in the number 10 jersey as he lays it on for Brian Roy. Will this be the first? No, it won't. So nearly an own goal. And the man from the City ground shows his frustration, flashes in a cross-come shot, and the defender in the end did well to leave it alone. Heartwarming to see just how involved Bergkamp is here early on. He's at the centre of everything, lining it up for Aaron Winter. And there it is, the first for Holland, and it's Zeedorf. It's the youngster picking up secondary ball after it had been laid back on the edge of the D by Dennis Bergkamp. And Clarence Zeedorf from Ajax opens the scoring. There it is, keeper might just have got a touch onto the crossbar, but down and over the line. And a wonderful moment for Zeedorf to savour the first goal at this level for Guus Hiddink. And the Dutch are on the warpath. 1-0 they lead. And it's about, well, I was going to say it's about time they scored as we move forward into the second half. But with these edited highlights, it doesn't show you the true picture of great defending at times from the Maltese, who were on the rack, as you saw, for most of the first period. So we turn around in the second period, and it's the Dutch with the cushion of that goal given them on 38 by Zeedorf. In the second half, however, they were really to make their class tell. And Brian Roy just wondering what he had to do to get on the score sheet. Camilleri's header into the path of Roy, and in the end behind for a corner off Galea. Malta going into this game on the bottom of Group 5, no surprise there. Poor defending again from the part-timers at the set piece. They've picked up just 1 point in Group 5 so far. That was at home against the Czech Republic, perhaps a surprise that. Sharper and quicker to the ball. Aaron Winter this time, surely Brian Roy, no, still he can't hit the target. And on another night, it might have been a hat-trick for the Nottingham Forest man. Lim Jonk picking out Frank de Boer. Dutch defence hardly tested in this game as it became shooting practice, and that's a penalty kick. Inside the final 20 minutes, the match was really to run away from the plucky Maltese players, as stamina, finesse and eventually class was to tell. It's Bergkamp who wins the penalty, and it's the same player who steps up from 12 yards to convert. Number 2 for the Netherlands. On 76, Dennis Bergkamp marks his return to the full national side with a goal. And what a remarkable scoring record he has. That's his 23rd goal now for his country in 39 games. 2-0 to Holland on the night. And now a question of just how many more the Dutch could run in. Norway, of course, the group leaders, were also looking to bolster their goal tally with a trip to Luxembourg. We'll see what happened there at the end of this one. But the Dutch really had their tails up now going into the final 10 minutes. Over on the far side with Erik van der Loer, the substitute from Roda, surprise side in the Dutch First Division this season, and yet another corner kick to put the Maltese keeper Kluit under more pressure, conceded by Richard Bouhadjier, another of the Floriana players in the lineup. Well, the Maltese defence had problems all evening dealing with set-piece play and corner kicks, lacking in height, and this time they're not to wriggle off the hook, as number 3 is forced over the line by Aaron Winter. We'll see it again on the replay here. Mark Overmars swings it into the near post. A header that comes back, first from the post, a deflection from the keeper. And in the end, it's oh so simple for Aaron Winter from a couple of yards. Just over 5 minutes left on the clock now. Appeals for another penalty. Bergkamp again the man involved. But this time the referee from Iceland, Ottosson, said no. Dutch fans, some of the most vociferous in Europe, with a Mexican wave around the stadium, enjoying what they see. And it was about to get better for them as number 4 goes home. 6 minutes from time, and it's the second substitute, Patrick Kluivert, who makes it number 4 for his country. And it's a final tally that the Dutch had to settle for. The crowd were more than happy with that, and so indeed after the game was new trainer Guus Hiddink. Dennis Bergkamp, who had scored from the spot earlier on in the game, had really been at the centre of so much of the Dutch attacking play. This time his header knocked back across the 6-yard line, and alert thinking by the young Ajax man Kluivert to divert the ball beyond Kluivert. First time for number 4. And anything less than 4 against these part-timers from the island of Malta would surely not have been acceptable. But this, remember, comes hard on the heels of a 5-0 win over Luxembourg. And the Dutch now beginning to warm nicely to their task in Group 5. Itahoe having a quiet night of things. Dennis Bergkamp proving a real handful, as he would indeed for any defence when he's in the mood, as he was on this occasion. Still one of the finest players in Europe, if not the world. And let's hope he can rediscover his golden touch when he leaves his tribulations at Inter behind him with a move in the summer. At the end of the 90 minutes then, 35,000 fans going home into the Rotterdam night, delighted with a return to form from that man, Dennis Bergkamp. Delighted too from what they've seen from the hotshots of Holland as they paced Malta with 3 second-half goals, building on that lead given them by Zeedorf in the first half. Bergkamp from the penalty, Aaron. So added pressure then on Norway to get a result. In a snowstorm in Luxembourg, they're in the all-white strip. That might have had something to do with the home defenders not picking up their man, with the first goal coming in for the Norwegians, the group leaders. It's Øyvind Leonardsen, the Wimbledon man, who spurs his side on to a fine 2-0 win here, scoring the first after 35 minutes following good work in the setup by Haaland. Well, as the snow got thicker, Norway got stronger. Not surprising, feeling well at home in snowy Luxembourg. They wrapped it up 10 minutes from time. Second half substitute Gunnar Orsa, and that second laid on by, yes, you've guessed it, Leonardsen, who was having quite a game. In fact, Leonardsen was brought down for a penalty. There it is. But by this stage in the proceedings, leading 2-0, Norway's Rekdal could afford the luxury of seeing his spot kicks saved. Luxembourg finished with 10 men, Norway with the points, 2-0 for the leaders. Comfortable win then for both Norway and also for the Netherlands in Group 5, and also for the Czech Republic, beating Belarus by 4-2. It means wins for the leading 3 nations in this group, so no change in the table. Kadlec, Patrick Berger with 2, and Kuka the scorers for the Czech Republic, who remain 3 points. Welcome back as Eurosport continues its comprehensive coverage of all the action midweek into Group 6 now, and the confrontation at Lansdowne Road between ERA, the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Well, it's the Republic who take the lead 2 minutes after half-time in a scrappy affair, strong wind and a hard pitch, making quality football somewhat difficult. And Brian Hamilton's Northern Ireland side setting out to really frustrate the home nation, who go ahead following that free kick through Manchester City's Niall Quinn, taking advantage of poor marking to volley home. Jack Charlton thought his team had done enough, thought 1 goal would do it for his side, who had a 100% record at the start of the night. But Ian Dowie's header on 73, after great work by Gillespie down the flank, tied it up at all square. And the goal from Ian Dowie, the first ever scored by a Northern Ireland player at Lansdowne Road. Lots of goals we promised you this evening, and that's what we're about to see as we journey now to Salzburg, still in this group, for Austria in the white shirts. on a very cold evening against little Latvia. That's the first goal of the evening. There may well have been the sound of music in the hills over Salzburg after this one Wednesday night, as the Austrians breathed life into their campaign with a tremendous performance against the lowly Latvian nation. Fourth in the group going into the match with 3 points from 3 games. Austria welcomed back Andy Herzog after a long injury layoff, and here it was opening the scoring there, as you saw from the edge of the box, after 18 minutes play. Herzog, who was dropped after a dispute with trainer Prohaska, laying on the second just before half-time. The free kick from the goal scorer, this time turning provider, and number 2 for Austria from the head of Pfeifenberger. 2-0 Austria then at the break. Just 4,000 here incidentally for this game in Salzburg. Well, they certainly missed a night to remember, as the Austrians went on to record a tremendous win with 3 further goals in the second half. Andy Herzog, who this week will complete a move from Werder Bremen to Bayern Munich, makes it 3 on 58, cleverly picking out the space between defenders and keeper. And Austria hadn't finished yet. Penalty kick coming up, 19 minutes from time for that foul. And the dead ball specialist, the wily old bird in this Austrian side, entering the veteran stage, is Anton Toney-Polster, the Cologne player with the little John Aldridge dummy. That's his trademark too. Makes it 4-0 on the night to the Austrians. And as the snow travelled eastwards across Europe from Luxembourg to Salzburg, nothing to dampen the Austrian spirits, as it's that man Polster again wrapping it up in the 90th minute with a deft free kick that finds the top corner. And for the small crowd, great reward for turning out on such a chilly evening. The Latvians put to the sword, losing by 5-0. So those results then from Group 6, meaning no change. And Northern Ireland's point in Dublin, keeping them in 3rd place. But Austria gaining great confidence with that thrashing of little.
A day of great excitement in Georgia as the local authorities asked the local population if they would please not use local appliances so they could power the floodlights. Well, it was Jurgen Klinsmann who turned the lights off. In glorious fashion, that swashbuckling style of his gave the Germans the lead in 24 minutes. Georgia, of course, had been keyed up after that trouncing of Wales. Everybody on edge here. Could they do it against one of the major nations? This was to be the real test of the new nation. Unfortunately, they found Klinsmann in deadly style. A goal virtually out of nothing. Jurgen Klinsmann 2, Georgia 0. From then on, all downhill for the Georgians, and Germany should have increased their lead. A professional performance, and even at the end, a little consolation goal was denied them.